Ethiopian capital Addis Ababa and met Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed. As per the Turkish Foreign Ministry, the fresh talks aim to find a way to give Ethiopia access to international waters through Somalia without upsetting its territorial sovereignty. In recent years, Turkey has become a close ally of the Somali government. Ankara has built schools, hospitals and infrastructure and provided scholarships for Somalis. In 2017, Turkey opened its biggest overseas military base in Somalia's capital of Mogadishu. Earlier this year, Turkey and Somalia signed a defense and economic cooperation agreement. Meanwhile, Somaliland officials had expressed their objection and concerns with Somalia-Ethiopia talks. How will the rift in the Horn of Africa end? Now, to discuss this further, we have with us Advocate Sipho Mantula. He is a researcher at TM African School of Public and International Affairs. He joins us live from Johannesburg, South Africa. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you very much, and greetings to your viewers.
Now, Turkey has stepped in as a facilitator of talks between the two African countries to address their differences over a controversial port deal involving Somalia's breakaway region of Somaliland. Take us through the details here. What has prompted Turkey's involvement in the mediation process?
Remember, as you have said, even in your introduction towards the end, my sister, you have touched on the both bilateral agreements that both Turkey and Somalia had entered into almost 5 to 6 years ago. But if you look back in the conflict and the interest of Turkey, it is that you cannot have two great countries that are in the Horn of Africa quarreling not over the natural resources only, but even the issue of the Somaliland recognition in this diplomatic row. So it is important for us to understand that for Turkey to become a mediator in this aspect, it shows also that they are reminding the African Union that has tried also, the United Nations that has also tried, because the issue of the borderlands or the demarcation disputes have been problematic in the African Union. But for Turkey to enter this space also is to safeguard its interest, but at the same time to be found to be impartial in this mediation, because once you have a mediation, you need to be neutral. And what is important is to take context of what were the push and the pull triggers. And as we have said also, for Turkey, it is that the agreement between Somaliland and Itoobiya can be the trigger. But how do you resolve it? That is how important it is for this conflict to at least find its resolution. It might have to be managed. It cannot end immediately, because these conflicts of border disputes, natural resources in the Horn of Africa, they've been there for many years.
Yeah, and the tension arose after Ethiopia signed a memorandum of understanding with Somaliland, granting Ethiopia access to the Red Sea in exchange for recognizing Somaliland as an independent nation. Now, Somalia has considered this as a violation of its sovereignty and its territorial integrity. What are the key issues being discussed during the mediation talks?
I think you will understand during the mediation talks, one has to go to the source of the rift and the conflict, what has already caused tension with the recalling of ambassadors. That will also affect ordinary citizens of Somaliland, Somalia, and Ethiopia as they are even traveling. It will affect also the trade issues. It will also affect the issue of the cohesion in the Horn of Africa in terms of the strength of the unity amongst the people in the Horn of Africa, considering the conflicts that has been going on, whether in the north part of Ethiopia or in the southern part, but also within Somalia. They are still struggling with some of the remnants who are terrorist groups. And you will understand that for this peace process to find its resonance, to find its to find the light under the sun, it is important if they can deal, obviously, with the issues of the recognition of the state of Somaliland. Yes. Because we will remember that the issue of separation of member states from Sudan, North Sudan, the South Sudan, Eritrea, Ethiopia. It is a history of the Horn of Africa for many years, for 4 decades to 5 decades, that you are always having these rifts around territorial integrity. And that's why I said to you earlier, the AU has been shying away. They are muted in terms of addressing the question of borderlands, or what you call land demarcations, in most of the African countries, particularly in the Horn of Africa and in the east of the African